Stop. Hold up a second. How did we even get here?
What's up, everybody? Chris from Full Steam Designs. I've been trying to come up with something that I could use for a demonstration to teach you guys some of the basic design tools in Carbide Create. Stuff like the Boolean tools, drawing squares and rectangles, fillets, chamfers, dog bones. Well, I finally got something. It's a desk organizer and phone holder. It's a kind of long video. It's gonna be about 20 minutes, but I promise you, if you guys stick with me, you're gonna end up with this, and you're also gonna have the knowledge of how to use these tools so you can make anything you want. Let's jump into Carbide Create. All right, let's go ahead and start in the job setup window. And I've got our stock size set to 20 by 10 inches. For the stock thickness, I measured my material. I'm using 1/2 inch plywood, and it actually measures 0.47 inches. So I've input that into this block here. And then for retract height, I'm just using carpet tape to secure this. I don't have any clamps to clear or anything. So I set it pretty low. It's 0.2 inches. And let's just check out our document background. We'll click Edit. And this is going to allow us to cycle this grid on and off. We'd like it on for this. And set our spacing. And I have it set at 1/4 inch. So we'll click OK. And we'll click OK again. All right, and to start, I'm just going to start drawing a couple basic rectangles. So the bottom piece that we're using is 8 by 5 inches. So here's our 8 by 5 inch rectangle. And what I'd like is to round these corners. So we've got this drop down menu here. Right now it says square. We're going to select fillet. And this is going to give us this radius option, and that's going to be the radius of each of these corners. So we've got it set to 1/4 inch. Let's click apply. And there you go. Now we have 1/4 inch radius. This next piece, which is actually the back, is kind of made up of like a couple rectangles attached together. The first one is going to be 7 inches wide by 8 inches tall. And again, I want to put a radius on those corners of 1/4 inch. And then this bottom piece is 1 inch tall by 8 inches wide. Alright, so you can see when we select an object, we get a couple little things pop up as you're moving around. And it will have a midpoint of each of the faces, and it'll call each corner a node. And what I'm going to do is just grab that midpoint on the bottom, and I'm going to move along until I hit the midpoint on this piece. And that's right where I want that to be. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and just click and drag to select both of these objects. And now you'll see when we have more than one object selected, we get this Boolean window here. And you got a few options here. You've got union, intersection, and subtraction. And what I want to do is a union. That's going to join both of these together. So we click that, and now I have one piece. So let's just lock that into a corner there. Do the same here, just so it lines up on our grid. Perfect. All right, now before we get started with any more design elements, let me zoom in a little bit here. And I'm going to turn snap to grid off for a second. And just let me draw a rectangle. Doesn't really matter what size. And let me draw a circle. And this circle, we're going to make 0.125 inch radius. So that's going to be 1/4 inch diameter. That's going to represent 1/4 inch bit. So if I select this square, or this rectangle here, and I'm cutting an inside cut. So this bit is going to be moving along, and when it gets into the corner, it's not going to cut this nice sharp corner out. It's going to leave a radius here. So it's going to come in, hit this corner, and then just start coming right back up. And we've got a couple tools that we can use to correct that. So let's select this rectangle. And again, you've got this drop down menu here. It says square right now. So we've already used the fillet. You've got a chamfer, so that's not really going to help us here. This flipped fillet, that is definitely not going to help us. And then you got a dog bone and a T. So let's look at the dog bone. So that makes something that actually kind of looks like a dog bone. So now when this bit is coming along and it gets to this corner, instead of just shooting right up and leaving a radius in here, it's going to actually come and follow this curve that we've made. So it's going to remove a little bit extra material, but it'll allow us to fit something rectangular through this hole. And if we change this to T, you'll see that it also does something similar. So again, it would be coming around here, cutting. It'll come down here and cut and remove all this extra material, which will allow us to put something rectangular through this hole. Let's go ahead and delete those, and we'll zoom out. So this is my bottom piece. I need a slot cut in this that this piece is going to fit through. And remember, this piece measures up here, it's 7 inches wide and it's 0.47 inches thick. So I'm going to make a rectangle that's just slightly bigger than that. So we'll set this to, let's do 7.04. And for the height, we'll just do a 1/2 inch. And now I need to select one of these options here for the corners. And I'm going to do a T. Let's go ahead and turn Snap to Grid back on. I can grab that midpoint. And I want this 3/4 of an inch away from the edge. So I've got 1, 2, 3, because these are each 1/4 inch blocks. And I can see that it's centered. So we're good to go. That's right where I want that. Now I need a spot for my cord to come through. And I want that spot to come through 2.5 inches away from this edge. So I'm just going to make a square that measures 2.5 by 2.5. We're going to use this for a couple things. And we can move this down to this corner. So now I know that where these lines here intersect, that's exactly 1/4 or 2.5 inches away from this edge. I'll select the circle tool. And just for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to make it a little large. We can go ahead and move this out of our way for now. I also want a spot for the cord to come through here, so I need a little slot cut. Let's go ahead and select the rectangle. And it doesn't need to be a 1/2 inch wide, but we can make it, let's say, 0.3 inches wide. The height isn't really important. So now I want to start joining some of these objects together to make one big object. So I've already got the rectangle selected. I'm going to hold Shift and select my circle, and we'll do a union. Now you can see that it kind of comes over the back here. So if again, I'll hold Shift, select this. If I did a union, it's going to join and have that piece on the back, which kind of looks funny. I don't really want that. Let's go ahead and undo that. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this piece and I'm going to hit either Command C if you're on a Mac or Control C if you're on a PC and copy it. And I can grab that midpoint and just move it until it overlaps this other one. So now I'm going to go ahead and select this little keyhole shape. I'll hold Shift and I'm going to select one of these outlines. And I'm going to do a subtraction. And that leaves me with these two pieces here. So the reason we had to copy this was because when we do a subtraction, it may, depending on what you're doing, like in this case, it deleted that piece. Let's undo that. So now what I'll do is I'll zoom in a little bit select this and delete it. And now I can select both of these objects here and do a union. And now that's one piece. Now this needs to be cut out, so I'll select this outside, hold shift, select this piece, and I'll do a subtraction. Let's go ahead and move this square over here because we need another circle cut here for the cord to come through. So now I can click this outside shape, hold shift, click this second piece, and do a subtraction. And it's always the second piece that you're selecting that is actually subtracted from the first. The order is very important. If you did that the other way, let's undo this and show you what will happen. So if I select my circle, hold shift, and select this piece and hit subtract, we get a very different outcome. So we select our first piece, hold shift, select the piece that we want subtracted from that first piece, and click subtraction. Move this up here. Alright, now I want a slot here for this corner is actually going to hold a watch. Alright, so let's go ahead and draw another rectangle. We're going to make this one 3 by 0.75 inches, and we'll leave it square. Now I'm going to draw a circle. I'm going to get right on that midpoint and draw that circle just like that. I'll select both of these objects. Let's do a union. Now I'll select this corner node, and I'm just going to move it till it touches that corner. So now I know that this is 2.5 inches from the top. We can go ahead and get rid of this square. We're not going to need it anymore. Now we can go ahead and select our outside line, hold shift, select this object that we just made, and we'll do a subtraction. So I would like to radius these edges here, but there's really no easy way for me to do that. But what I can do is I can make a square. We're going to make that a 1/2 inch, and we're going to put a circle in there, and we're going to make this just a little bit bigger. We'll just add a 1 onto the end of that. Alright, so now that circle is overlapping that square. So now I'll select the square, hold shift, select the circle, and I'm going to do a subtraction. So now you can see that I have 4 individual pieces here. So let's take this one, we'll grab that corner node, and we'll let it snap right in there. Grab this one, let it snap in. And now what we can do is select this outside outline, hold shift, let's zoom in a little bit, select this object, and do a subtraction. And then again, we've got this outside outline selected. We'll hold shift, select this radius, and do another subtraction. So now we've rounded that edge out. So now we have a couple more corners that we have to worry about, and that's actually these inside corners here. So like I said, if our bit is coming along and it's going to cut in here, it's not going to cut a nice sharp corner. So that's going to cause interference problems here. But what we can do Alright, so we're going to select the circle tool again. We'll click right on this corner. And for the diameter of that, it just needs to be slightly larger than the diameter of our bit, which is going to be 1/4 inch. So we can use these heights here if it makes more sense. So it would be 0.25 for 1/4 inch. but we need to make it a little bit bigger, so we'll just do 0.251. Now I can go ahead and hit Control or Command C to copy this, and I'll just move it over here. And I need to subtract each of these circles from this shape. So I'll select this shape, hold Shift, select the circle, subtract. Select this shape, hold Shift, select the circle, subtract. Alright, so this here is kind of like dead space. There's not really a whole lot going on. Let's add a little bit more shape to this thing. Select our polyline, and we're just gonna kind of, I don't know, we'll select right here. And let's join it to this piece right here. We're just kind of seeing where it snapped on to one of those points on that radius. And we'll just kind of make a triangle there. So let's select this shape here, hold Shift, select this new shape that we drew, and do a subtraction. Alright, so now we've got a little bit more shape there. Let's round this corner out. Make another circle, and it doesn't really matter what size it is, but what we need to do is zoom in and get this thing to overlap this shape just a little bit. Alright, and now I'm going to select this outside shape here, and I'm going to copy this. And then again, I'm just going to move it right on top of the original one. So we've got that selected. Hold Shift, select our circle, and we'll do a subtraction. Now I can go ahead and select this part of the circle, which is actually going to select that whole outline there, and delete that. And now that's left me with this little piece. So what I can do is select this, hold Shift, select this little piece, and do a subtraction. And it kind of left us with a little tail here. Let's go ahead and look at our nodes. I'm just going to come in here, and I'll delete that. Alright, let's add one more feature. Let's add a little hook somewhere up here for our keys. Alright, so I'm kind of just making this up as I go. Let's draw a circle here. Something like that. And let's do a rectangle. Kind of just showing you how you can do this on the fly here. Let's join these two pieces together. And now we're going to subtract that from this outline. Alright, now we got a little hook there. But I'd like to round that edge off, so let's use one of these little radius pieces. Select this outline, hold Shift, select that radius, and do a subtraction. Alright, so now I kind of want to round this piece off here. Let me just draw a 1/4 inch circle, 1/4 inch diameter, so 1/8 inch radius. And I'm going to grab this node on the side and just have it line up, snap to that part there. But I need to make this circle just a hair bigger. So now it's overlapping this original piece. I'll select this outline, copy it again, move it until it covers the original. I'll leave that selected. I'll hold Shift, select this circle, and I'll do a subtraction. Now I can just select this extra material here, delete that, and now I've got our main outline here, and then I've got this little piece, and I need to subtract that from this big outline. So I'll select the outside, hold Shift, select this radius, and again do a subtraction. And then it just kind of left me with some extra stuff there. I can select that and delete it. All right, we can, keep going if we want, add other little details if we'd like. But I think that's looking pretty good. So let's go ahead and try making one and see how it works. Moment of truth. Is it gonna fit?